Good morning, it's Dr. Charlotte Hodges. I am taking my morning walk, oh my goodness, for a summer morning in Texas. It's like in the 60s. I think that there's a hurricane brewing somewhere, so that's why it feels a lot better. But I am taking advantage. So don't mind the bed head and the sleepy eyeballs. What I kind of wanted to talk about today was one of the topics that you guys had sent in from one of my last podcasts. Just whenever I sent out a word saying, hey, is there anything that you guys would like to talk about? So this would be topic number one. I thought it was really prudent, and I've actually had this particular question come up recently in a couple of my new patient appointments. So I think the topic is very timely and very important. What is the topic? Drum roll, please. It is how to prepare your family and your friends for you to have surgery. Now, you know, I think for me, it kind of goes without saying that if you can have the support of your family and friends, you are going to have a much greater chance of success. But I also want you to know that unfortunately I also have a lot of patients who've done very well and they didn't tell a soul. However, with that being said, for those of you that are wanting to bring your family or friends into the fold, I really think that the key thing is going to be education. I think oftentimes when people have concerns about a procedure, those concerns, they're rooted in fears and a lot of preconceived notions. And it's not uncommon for me whenever I'm having my initial patient interview for patients to tell me about their cousin's best friend's uncle who had the surgery 20 years ago and passed away or had a bad outcome. And I'm not discounting that. I'm not saying that those things don't happen, but the reality is that these surgeries now are safer to perform and undergo than having your gallbladder out. Patients have much, much better outcomes, and that's just from the get-go. So I think trying to find a way to, number one, re-educate your family and friends about the surgery and trying to dispel some of these myths is going to be really helpful. I'm going to have another podcast just on my top 10 myths debunked. So you can refer to that. You can also go to asmbs.org. They actually have one whole page dedicated to myths about bariatric surgery. And I really encourage both you and your family and your friends to go to that site. It's a reputable website. There's no bias in that website, and it's going to give you some really good and accurate information. So I think the very first thing is let's work on re-educating our family and friends about the truth and the realities about these surgeries. What is another truth? These surgeries are not just about weight loss. They are about, they truly are a metabolic procedure. They can treat diabetes, high blood pressure, hypercholesterolemia, PCOS, sleep apnea. It also reduces your risk for certain cancers like prostate cancer, breast cancer, and colon cancer. So there are there are many additional benefits to these procedures other than just losing weight. And so many times I'm now having patients come to see me that losing weight is just the cherry on top. What they really want to do is they want to get off their insulin pump. They want to get off their 3 blood pressure medicines. They have a strong family history for breast cancer, and they want to reduce that risk. And I also have a really good friend, Dr. Beverly Reed, who is a great fertility specialist, and she sends a lot of her fertility patients to me because they are seeking to undergo IVF or IUI, and by losing weight, having the surgeries, they're able to respond much better to the medications. So I think that that's another point to make, that knowing that these surgeries can offer more than just weight loss, and that they truly can be used to treat different disease processes. I think knowing that information, that's also very helpful as well. You know, another way to get good information back to your family and friends is invite them to your follow-up appointments. Many times I've dedicated just an additional preoperative appointment with my patients so I can discuss with their family, with their friends, with their spouse, parents, whomever, any questions that they may have. I encourage you, if you can, bring your loved ones with you to your appointments. So many times you get to your appointment and there's a lot of information that we give you guys. And studies have shown humans, we only retain about 20% of what we hear. So what that means is you'll probably need to read or listen to this video about 5 times before you get everything. But it's really helpful whenever you bring somebody else with you, because a lot of times they will help jog your memory about different questions that you have. Another thing that you can do is I encourage you and your family members and loved ones to go ahead and write down your questions and bring them with you. Just keep them in your purse or in your wallet. That way you can, that way you won't forget the different questions that you have. It's always surprising to me whenever I see a patient for the very first time and I go through their health history, I go through all the information about the different procedures, and then I'm open it up for questions and they're like, nope, I'm good. And I'm like, whoa, okay. That was a really quick appointment. I feel like this should be going a lot longer. So I encourage you also, write down your questions, either, or even, you know, stick them in your phone. So, ooh, I'm crossing the street. Stick them in your phone so that you can refer back to them so you can get those questions answered. So I think the very first and the strongest point that I recommend for you guys is educate, educate, educate. You know, I think the other thing to remember is, you know, it's not just knowing the safety of the surgeries. It's also quite, patients have questions about how is their lifestyle going to change? And, you know, really, many times a spouse or a friend, some of their concerns are born out of how is this surgery going to affect them? How is this going to affect their ability to go out to dinner with you? How is it going to be when you're all together at the holidays? And, you know, and the reality is things are going to be a little bit different. You're not going to be eating as much, but it doesn't mean that you can't go to different restaurants. I mean, on any diet plan, things change. I mean, if you're doing the keto diet, you're going to be doing a lot of high fat, high protein, low carbohydrate foods. Most diets that you're on, you're probably not going to be drinking a lot of alcohol. You're not going to be drinking a lot of really high calorie drinks. You're not going to be hitting the ice cream shop a lot. You're going to be doing that if you're on a diet plan anyway. The reality is, though, after these surgeries, it's not going to be as restrictive as you think. My husband, he had his bypass, oh gosh, 8 or 9 years ago, I believe. And he's done really well. There's not one restaurant that he and I can't go to. Now, do we usually order chicken fajitas? We love Mexican food. I mean, we are here in Texas. Excuse me, we typically, what we'll do is we will get chicken fajitas and we will share them, and then he doesn't really eat a lot of the tortillas because those will fill him up. It doesn't mean that he can't physically eat one. He just knows it'll fill him up and he'd rather eat the chicken. And he also knows that if he does flour tortillas, I mean, he'll be donezo because they're just so dense. Are the holidays a little bit different for us now too? Yes, they are. I mean, my husband's had the surgery, my mom has had the surgery, my brother's had the surgery, my grandmother's 89, and I have a 4-year-old. So everybody in my family eats about like this much. So our table, whenever I'm preparing Thanksgiving dinner, is a lot different than whenever we were having Thanksgiving in our pre-op years. I mean, I remember we would have chips and nuts and appetizers and things like that, and we would just graze all day. I'm sorry, my little arm's getting tired. I need to get one of those little holders for my phone. Anyway, but we would have this huge spread, and we would literally, after our Thanksgiving dinner, we would play card games, we'd play mahjong, and we would literally just graze all day. Well, them days are over. I mean, we know that once we eat, we're going to be pretty full. Typically what we end up doing is just having a nice big pot of coffee. We might get one pie, and it's so funny. We used to go to Sam's and get these humongous pecan pies. They're so good. Well, I mean, now we just go and we get like just a real small pecan pie, and just, we might have a couple of slivers taken out of it for us all to taste. I personally would eat the entire pie, but I end up usually pitching it because I know I'll eat the whole pie, so I just can't have it around. And the rest of my family, they really just can't tolerate all that carbohydrate. So do your meals look different? They will. Has it negatively impacted our Thanksgiving? No. We still talk, we still laugh, we still play games. We just don't happen to be grazing all day because my family just doesn't have the space to do so. And my hips are thanking them for that. So I think the other thing is to know, summing all that up, is, are your holidays, are your meals going to look different? They will look different, but it's not going to be so different that it's a very restrictive diet where you can only eat a very narrow range of foods. I think another difficult thing for some family members that I hear a lot too is what to expect with your weight loss. So often patients will be told, because they've lost a lot of weight, oh, I think you're losing too much weight. And whenever they come to see me for their follow-up, I'm like, you're doing amazing with your weight loss and your BMI is 28 or 29. That's fine. A normal BMI is between 18 and 24. I think the reality is for many of my patients, if they've been heavy for a long time, and especially if they've always had an issue with their weight, once they lose the weight, the people that have known them the longest, they see a drastic difference. Whereas if a stranger just saw them right off the street, they wouldn't think anything about it. They wouldn't think that they look sick or they've lost too much weight. Ooh, let me cross the street. Sorry. It's so funny. I take the same route whenever I walk, and I think I know all the subcontractors because they're doing a lot of home renovations around here. So be prepared personally to know that some people are going to be very happy with your weight loss and very encouraging. There are going to be some people, though, that from no fault of their own, and I don't know always what place in their heart where they're coming from, but sometimes people may be a little bit more negative, and they just have that from a place of concern and a place of misunderstanding. So try not to let that discourage you. Go by your doctor's orders. Believe me, I will tell you if you're too thin. I don't know if I've really ever had to say that. I mean, every now and then I've had to talk to people about their weight, but I mean, 99% of the time, you're going to do fine. So I hope that kind of going over these couple of things has really been helpful for you guys. Educate, educate, educate with good, sound information. Go to my website, charlottehodgesmd.com. Encourage your family or friends to look at some of my videos, read some of the blogs. Go to asmbs.org. That's a really good, unbiased website that's going to give you a lot of really great information. Encourage your family members to come with you to your appointments. Let them know that yes, there are going to be some changes, but there are going to be changes for the better. And I think most importantly, know that our team really just wants the very best for you. I want you to have a good, healthy surgery and good, long-lasting success. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And please, please, please share this with people in your family. Share this with anybody that you know that's about to undergo surgery, because this is a really, really common question that I get a lot. Bye.